Hey and welcome to the Daily Arsenal News Show. Let's begin with our daily news. Arsenal could sign one of the biggest prospects in Europe for less than £17 million. Arsenal have been linked with a move to sign Ivan Fresneda for months now, and Fabrizio Romano has claimed that he will be available for a very affordable fee. The Gunners pushed Manchester City as far as they could, but sadly for them, they fell 5 points short in the end. A good transfer window this summer could change that next season, and the North Londoners are expected to be very active. Among all the names linked with a move to Arsenal is young Fresneda, who has been branded as one of the biggest prospects in Europe. Arsenal already have two solid right backs in Ben White and Takahiro Tomiyasu, while youngsters Raoul Walters and Brooke Norton-Cuffy are showing real promise as well. However, the Gunners are still expected to be on the market for a new fullback this summer, and along with the likes of Sasha Bowie and Joao Cancelo, even if Fresneda's name keeps coming up. The Spaniard was heavily linked with a move to Arsenal in the January transfer window. A move even looked imminent at one point, but he ended up staying at Real Valladolid in the end. Now, following his team relegation from La Liga, Fresneda is very likely to leave. Fabrizio Romano has claimed that Arsenal have no bid for him yet, contrary to what other reports have claimed, but the Gunners still retain an interest in the 18-year-old. Fresneda's release clause now stands at just over £17 million. Romano claims interested clubs could potentially sign him for even lesser money in the coming weeks. He tweeted, Ivan Fresneda's release clause is now available for €20 million after Valladolid's relegation confirmed. Sources feel Fresneda could still leave for less than €20 million in the summer. Interest but no bid from Arsenal. Dortmund strongly interested. Fresneda is a huge talent. The Spaniard is still just 18 years old, possesses immense potential, and under a manager like Mikel Arteta, he could become one of the top fullbacks in Europe in a few years' time. However, Borussia Dortmund are also in the race to sign Fresneda this summer, and the teenager will probably get more game time there in Germany than at Arsenal. That could be a huge factor in the upcoming window, but Arteta has always been good at convincing players, and Arsenal fans will be hoping he can do the same again with Fresneda now. Pundit thinks unbelievable 21-year-old would be a good value at £100 million for Arsenal. Kevin Campbell believes that paying £100 million for Moises Caicedo could prove to be good value for money for Arsenal, as he could be someone who is around for the next decade. Campbell was speaking to Egal Talks Football as Arsenal continue to be linked with a potential move for Moises Caicedo ahead of the summer transfer window. Of course, the midfield looks to be the priority for Mikel Arteta's side in this window, and Caicedo is one of those who clearly on the radar. In fact, reports from Football Transfers have claimed that Caicedo has agreed personal terms with Arsenal. Brighton, meanwhile, believe that he is heading to the Emirates. The Seagulls have previously wanted £100 million for the Ecuadorian, according to the Times, so it would certainly be a huge deal for the Gunners to secure his signature. But Campbell believes that the deal becomes much better value when you consider how long the 21-year-old could be playing for Arsenal. He said, Brighton are going to push the boat and see where they can get to. They know that he is going to go, but they want as much as they can. £100 million might come down to 80-70. These young players are so good. But again, you get a young player like that and you have him for 10 years, it's 8 to 10 million pound a year. When you think about it like that, it's not a lot of money to have that quality. Certainly, if Caicedo realizes his potential, he could prove to be a bargain. He has been unbelievable since the start of this past season, and it's frightening to think that he is only 21. He has established himself as one of the best midfielders in the Premier League already. The one major concern is that he is still so young and has still not made 100 appearances in his club career. There is always a chance that he may not reach the levels many expect for him, but Brighton have shown that they get very little wrong in the transfer market, And if he moves to Arsenal, he will be working with more of the best talents in Europe, so it would absolutely no surprise if he did reach the very top of the game within the next decade. Kevin Campbell really likes 19-goal star Arsenal now reportedly want this summer. Kevin Campbell has suggested that he is a big fan of Xavi Simons amid reports that Arsenal won the 20-year-old, claiming that the youngster destroyed the Gunners in the Europa League this past season. Campbell was speaking to Egal Talks Football following claims that Mikel Arteta's men are monitoring the winger who was superb in the Eredivisie. Reports from Football International claimed last week that Arsenal are considered the side most likely to make a move for Xavi Simons. It was noted that Simons has been left somewhat disillusioned by the departure of Ruud van Nistelrooy, so that may have opened the door for the Premier League title challengers. Of course, Arsenal got the chance to look at Simons up close in the Europa League. He particularly shone in PSV's win over the Gunners at the Emirates in October. And with that, Kevin Campbell has suggested that he would be delighted if Arsenal could manage to bring the youngster to North London in the summer. He said, I like him. I thought he was excellent at PSV, and when I watched him against Arsenal, I thought he destroyed us, to be honest. But he is that type of player. He is not a striker, but he can operate as a forward. Sometimes you have got to be able to change it up. I think Arsenal having that type of squad will be good. It will cost a lot of money. Arsenal will surely want to add greater depth to their ranks before the new season arrives. They will be back in the Champions League next year, and it did appear that the demands of this past campaign did catch up with some of the key members of the squad. Bukayo Saka was certainly someone who struggled to maintain the frightening levels he reached earlier in the season, so having someone else who can play across the front four would be beneficial to Arteta, and Simons is proving to be such an exciting talent. He ended the campaign with 22 goals in all competitions, including 19 in the top flight, so it would be a real statement if Arsenal were able to add him to their ranks. Arsenal hope Mikel Arteta can persuade phenomenal player to join them. Arsenal are reportedly hopeful that Mikel Arteta will be able to persuade Manchester City star Ilkay Gundogan to make the switch to the Emirates Stadium this summer. That's according to the Evening Standard, who claimed that Gundogan is set to make a decision over his future next week. Arsenal are reportedly ready to offer a 2-year contract to Manchester City midfielder Ilkay Gundogan, but face competition from Barcelona and the clubs in Saudi Arabia. As things stand, it looks like the Gunners are probably outsiders in the race for Gundogan's signature, though no final decision has been taken yet, according to Sport. Gundogan has enjoyed yet another brilliant campaign as he played a key role in City pipping Arsenal to the Premier League title. The 32-year-old also bagged a brace in the FA Cup final over the weekend, which keeps City's hopes of a treble well and truly alive. Despite his impressive performances for Pep Guardiola's side, he could end up leaving for free next month, as his contract is set to expire. And with Arsenal keen to snap up yet another City player, it seems the North Londoners are hopeful that Arteta's relationship with Gundogan could convince him to make the switch. The Evening Standards claim that Gundogan is yet to make a decision over his future, with his focus firmly on this Saturday's Champions League final against Inter Milan. Gundogan is attracting interest from the likes of Barcelona, while Guardiola wants him to stay at the Etihad Stadium. But Arsenal will hope that Arteta's existing relationship with Gundogan could give them an advantage in the race to sign him. Of course, the duo worked together during Arteta's spell at City, and they have already brought in the likes of Zinchenko and Gabriel Jesus. The outlet notes that Gundogan remains in talks with the Premier League champions over extending his stay. Gundogan has been phenomenal for City over the years, and it's no surprise that Arteta wants to work with him once again. The German international would be an upgrade on Granit Xhaka, who looks set to join Bayer Leverkusen this summer. Yet, it remains unclear whether or not Gundogan will end up committing his future to City, with a decision set to be made next week. Arsenal will at least get clarity sooner rather than later. Arsenal told to sign £40 million Premier League midfielder who is even more dynamic than Martin Odegaard. Kevin Campbell has insisted that James Madison would be a good signing for Arsenal, claiming that the Leicester City talisman is actually more dynamic than Martin Odegaard. Campbell was speaking to Egal Talks Football ahead of what is threatening to be a pivotal transfer window for Mikel Arteta's man following their amazing title push this past year. The supporters will be desperate for some exciting deals in the market, and one of the players linked with Arsenal has been James Madison. Madison is reportedly available for £40 million following Leicester's relegation from the Premier League. That could be a potential bargain after he scored 10 goals and contributed 9 assists this past year. Of course, it's not the first time Arsenal have been linked with Madison. Sky Sports reported in 2021 that they may target the England international as they wait up signing Martin Odegaard permanently. Ultimately, they went with Odegaard, and with that, some may assume that they may not make a big play for Madison as the Norwegian goes from strength to strength. But when asked about Madison, Campbell suggested that there is definitely a place for the 26-year-old at Arsenal. He said, I like Madison. I think he is a really good player. Could he fit our squad? Of course, he could fit our squad. We have Odegaard, but he is a different type of player in a sense to Odegaard. They have some traits that are similar, where they can pick a pass, but I think James Madison is a little bit more dynamic. He is a little bit more willing to get into the box than Odegaard. There is definitely an opportunity for a club to secure a bargain this summer. He has scored 30 goals over the last 3 Premier League campaigns, so to sign him for £40 million seems to be a no-brainer, particularly when Arsenal have a Champions League campaign to prepare for this coming season. Madison is surely going to be playing in the Premier League next year, and if Arsenal do not act, there is a very good chance that he will join a side looking to rival them. Journalist shares what one of Declan Rice's best friends did after being asked about Bayern München. Arsenal fans may be starting to get a bit worried about recent rumors surrounding Declan Rice. The Gunners and Mikel Arteta have apparently earmarked Rice as their top target heading into the summer transfer window. Indeed, Arsenal are apparently desperate to sign Rice, but there have been recent reports that Bayern München will rival them for his signature. However, according to Dean Jones, there isn't much basis to these rumors. Speaking on the Ranks FC Ultras podcast, Jones said that he is not sure Rice will move to Bayern München, saying that he knows people close to Declan Rice and that one of those people actually laughed when he asked about a move to Bayern. Jones shared what happened when he asked about Bayern München. He said, Declan Rice does not have a desire to join Bayern München ahead of the other clubs that are in for him. I am not saying it's impossible. Nothing is ever impossible, but everything I know about this, and I know people who are really close with Declan Rice, one of them literally laughed when I asked if he will sign for Bayern München. He is very home orientated, and they are so close, he doesn't want to step out of that. It sounds as though Rice is much more likely to join another English club, and seemingly one in London too. As Jones says, it really sounds as though Rice is a home bird, and it's going to be hard for Bayern to convince him to leave his comfort zone and head to Bavaria. Of course, Rice is a player who also likes to take risks, so perhaps he could revel in this opportunity, but in our view, a move to Arsenal seems a bit more likely at the moment. I will be uploading daily Arsenal news, so keep your eyes on the channel and don't forget to like and subscribe. I appreciate your support. Peace out.